Muy buenos días. Estamos muy contentos de estar aquí en este espacio de Pensando Educación de la Facultad de Educación de la Universidad de los Andes. El día de hoy tenemos como invitados a Anja Seifert y Thomas Buega, que vienen de la Universidad de Gießen en Alemania, y ellos nos van a presentar pues una charla que se llama Theory, Research and Policies on Transition and Inclusion in Germany. Vamos a tener pues la posibilidad de conversar con ellos, de hacerles preguntas, y ellos nos van a hacer una presentación de todo lo que están haciendo desde la Universidad de Gießen. Entonces, bienvenidos. Aquí estará también con nosotros Diana González, que es estudiante doctoral de la Facultad de Educación. Y voy a darle la entrada a cada uno de ellos para que se presente y que inicien su charla. Entonces, vamos a empezar con Ania.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días a todos. Me llamo Anja Seifert y estoy profesora de educación con la especialidad de educación de primaria. We will talk in English and sometimes in Spanish, and this refers to our topic. The topic is inclusion, and so it's good to use different languages, but the main language will be English. I used to work as a teacher, and then since 2007, I started to work in teacher training, and I am professor for educational sciences at JLU campus, and JLU in Gießen is your partner university.
Thank you very much. My name is Thomas Bürger. I was a primary teacher for 12 years in a normal schools in Hessen in the south of Germany. Now I'm for 20 years now at the GLU in Gießen. And my topics are science for children is one of the main topic. And other things are inclusion, but also, gender education, and I'm also very interested in migration pedagogic themes. So now we start, maybe we can start. You will start.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting.
You can use this.
Yeah, thank you for having us. In Germany, we have a big discourse on dealing with heterogeneity in the classroom or heterogeneous classrooms. And focusing on differences, we use different terms, different perspectives and theories. And the main terms we use are heterogeneity, differences, diversity, and inclusion. And of course, every class is different, but with heterogeneity or differences, diversity, and inclusion, you focus on a different topic within the whole field of theory and research. So there are many terms that refer to the big issue of diversity, but in different ways. And as I know, you use more diversity or Diversität than heterogeneity. And in Germany, it's the other way around. We use heterogeneity in many times. We have many publications since the year 2000. And so it's very common to refer to heterogeneity. And we, of course, we have a big discourse, an ongoing discourse on inclusion, and we will differentiate between these different concepts. Heterogeneity in school refers to many different aspects, like age, like interests, like family backgrounds, etc. But in the end, we have four main levels of heterogeneity in schools: the ability and disability related dimension, which goes ahead with the idea of inclusion, gender-related dimension, which goes along with doing gender, girls, boys in school, and doing gender, and socioeconomic related dimension, and of course the big dimension on referring to migration, the migration-related dimensions of heterogeneity. So when it comes to migration, we can say that Germany is a migrant society or even a post-migrant society. We have migration from different countries. As you may know, we have more than 195 different countries worldwide. And in Germany, we have migration of 190 countries. So this means in the end, we have migrations from nearly all countries worldwide. This means that we have 4,000 living languages in Germany, yeah, because the migrant families come with their languages, yeah. What do you think? How many languages do you have here in Colombia? Is Colombia also a migrant country? Yeah. 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 La indígena, yeah.
No, but we have more Spanish speakers than other languages.
Yeah. Thank you. And here we see a big difference. Yeah, you are a migrant country. For example, people from Venezuela, but they have the same language. Yeah, they can communicate in Spanish, and when they come to school, they speak Spanish as before. Yeah, in Germany, it's the other way around. Nearly none of the families coming to Germany have German as first language, yeah. They have other languages, so they will start as beginners with German as a foreign language. We have big migrant groups like the Turkish community, the Russian community, the Polish community, and the Arabic community. And here you see the percentages. 17 Turkish-speaking, for example. But in the end, we have here 4,000 different living languages. This means in primary school, you have children from all around the world, or their families come from all around the world. And some speak as a first language Turkish, Russian, Arabic, but all other languages are also involved. But we have the tradition of monolingual primary school, yeah. So German is the language of instruction, yeah, and that's a big issue. Yeah. Click in the mouse.
Ja.
Unten?
Ja, jetzt kannst du.
Nee. Bin ich. So. So it's a big issue. What languages do we have in German schools? Like this. Okay. Here you see a typical pictures of a first grade in Germany. Yeah, and you see different names and you see different children, and it's normal that you have in an urban first class or secondary second class children with different languages and different family backgrounds. If we talk about inclusion, we have to ask, what is our idea of inclusion? Yeah, do we refer only to children with disabilities? Yeah, or persons with disabilities? Have we a labeling like this is a normal child and this is an inclusive child? Yeah, or these are our normal children and these are our inclusive children? Yeah. do we refer to this idea that we have a standard school child and pupils with special needs, with educational needs, yeah? And especially we have problems with the transition from elementary school to primary school, from primary school to secondary school, if we have a definition like this in mind. Normal child without disabilities and the child with disabilities. I myself, I would like to refer to a definition like this from Hohendecker. The aim of inclusion is the equal participation of all people in social life, regardless of individual or group characteristics such as age, gender, physical constitution, ethnic origin, cultural, social, and socio-economic affiliation, religion, state of health, etc. And etc. means there could be other, topics. But you see, the main issue, I marked it in yellow, equal participation of all people. So that's a wide definition of inclusion, and we refer to the idea of participation of all. We work in the field of primary education, and the primary school in Germany is built in the year 1920. This was the beginning of our democratic society after World War I. The idea had been to build a school for all children of the German society, regardless their origin, regardless their family background, regardless gender. And so the idea had been to build a German school for all. But we did not refer to children with disabilities. We had in mind children without disabilities. And then it took some decades more, and in the 1960s, we had compulsory schooling for children with disabilities, yeah? And before, they did not attend a school as compulsory schooling. And then in the 1990s, we had recommendation for school integration. But even before, in the 1970s, we had the first primary schools. They started with integration. They had one child with disabilities or two, and they worked together with the kindergarten and with the families, and they said, oh, let's try, yeah? Let's do our individual school development and school reform. But it was not referring to the official policy. It was just happening as an initiative, as a reform issue. And then in 2009, we had a ratification of the Convention on Children or Persons with Disabilities, like you here in Colombia or in many other nations, yeah? And the interesting thing is that this Article 24, referring to inclusive education, is challenging our system, the whole system, because German educational system is highly selective. Yeah, and here a quote: state parties shall ensure an inclusive education systems at all levels and lifelong learning. Yeah, so we have to change our mind from the idea of a normal school and from disability pedagogy and integration of one child, which has the label to be disabled in a normal group, to the idea of inclusion or inclusive pedagogy. And I said, we have a big problem with the transition, and our school system is highly selective. Here you see, it's not easy to explain to you how our educational system is built. Yeah, and here you see, here's the primary school. The idea 100 years ago to have a school for all children of the German society. But here you see we have special needs schools also beginning with grade 1. Yeah, this means primary school also have on the other side a special needs school. Still we have different types of schooling, and specifically we have only 4 common years. So this means you have the first transition from kindergarten or preschool to school. And here the idea to have a school-ready child, attending school. And we have a big ongoing debate on how, what kind of competences need a school child to be a school child, to be school-ready, and referring also to the language ability to talk and express in German as the educational language. So here's the first transition, a risky transition. Starting school, the school entry. And then here we have the second transition of primary school. And you see, we don't have one type of secondary school like you have, secundaria, primaria, secundaria. We have here different types. We have high school, gymnasium, comprehensive school, Gesamtschule, secondary school, Sekundarschule, or Realschule or Hauptschule, and the special needs school. And not one type of special needs schools, we have different types of special needs schools. And the names differ from one federal state to the other, due to the fact that Germany is a federal state country. We have 16 different federal states. And so we have the name secondary school, Sekundarschule in one federal state. And in the other federal state, we have the name Gemeinschaftsschule, for example. And we do not have in every federal state comprehensive schools. And so we see this is a big transition. And then after grade 10, we have another transition. Either you can go to upper secondary level high school or to vocational school training. Do you have questions until now? So the idea of the first part had been to give a short introduction referring to our school system, and to refer to the idea. So we refer to a narrow definition of inclusion or a wide definition of inclusion, and referring to the fact that in big states like Frankfurt, Berlin, Hamburg, Cologne, Munich, we have 60 or 70% of children with German as a second or foreign language. You see, we don't have still this normal child we used to have 40 or 50 years ago, all talking German in their families. So, Diana.
Yo solo quería decirle a los participantes que están en Zoom y YouTube que la profesora Ania Seifer también espera sus comentarios o preguntas a medida que ella va hablando. Nosotros las vamos a transmitir y las vamos a leer para que ella pueda responderlas o podamos discutir desde aquí. Muchas gracias.
Gracias. ¿Hay comentarios o preguntas? Sí.
Mi pregunta es frente a cuál es el mayor reto que hay actualmente en Alemania para el tema de la inclusión. Mencionabas que algunos de los aspectos que tocaba puede ser como la edad, el género, entre otros, pero quería preguntarte, digamos, ¿cuál de estas áreas es como la más desafiante para el sistema pues, de escolarización en Alemania?
Du hast gesagt, es gibt verschiedene Bereiche, die sehr problematisch sind.
Ja.
Welche wäre am problematischsten? Welche wäre eine große Herausforderung für uns?
Muchas gracias por la pregunta, muy interesante y muy importante. we have many big challenges. At the moment, we have a big discourse on migrant children, children with migration background. And the thing is, we are changing society. In many classrooms, we have children from families from all around the world. So we have to adapt our idea of instruction and to say, okay, what is about language learning in all subjects, how we can differentiate in a classroom as a heterogeneous classroom. That's one point. The other point is, here you see, this part is highly selective. Here you have a high quote of inclusion. In kindergarten, you have nearly 70% of all children with a label or with special needs. They are together with the others. In primary school, you have also a high percentage. It depends on the year and it depends on the federal state and if you are in a school in town or in the village, but you have around 40%. But once here in gymnasium, you have 2% or 5%, and you nearly find children, you hardly find children with special needs. So the one hand is we signed the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, but if you look around, the higher you get, the less persons with disabilities you find also working. If you are going around, normally you don't have contact with many children with disabilities. So these are challenging points. And the last point is we discuss if a primary school system suits to the idea of a democratic society to have the division and a selection after only 4 common years. So it's quite early in comparison to other educational systems. Only 4 common years is really less than in other countries. Thomas. Yeah. Thank you so much for the question. Are there other questions or comments? Not yet. Okay. Then we go ahead with the idea, what is inclusion?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, as you hear, we are in contact with this themes of inclusion since 30 years in Europe, 30 years. First, we start in 94 in Salamanca, in Spain. And there were a big contribution of persons and talk about inclusion. But we have also, if you heard, we have problems to transform these themes in reality. So you heard. So my question is, and my English is bad, my Spanish is nothing. I try to translate my themes by ChatGPT. So if you find mistakes, I'm not responsible for this. So as you hear, we have good intentions. We want to include children with special needs, but the question is, or the reality is, as you heard, there are states, they can't cross from a kindergarten to primary school, from primary school to secondary school. We lose children in the second system of special need education. But the first I want to talk is what is normal. And who said what is normal? We said we know what is special need. Who needs specials, or who is normal? This is the first question. We can do it in a mathematical way and say we have a normal situation of intelligence to say, okay, there are people who are more intelligent, there are people who are less intelligent. Maybe we have a situation all people can find in. This is a mathematic thing of way to find. Yes, we can find another. Maybe muss ich mich schnell selber lesen. You can read here on maybe on the Spanish way, what is normal? Yeah, is this a kinds of things who can people do? They are able to do things or they can't do. What is normal? This is the question. This is a active parameter. Say people can do special things or can't do every day or every week. What is normal? It's also a thing of healthy. Yes, is a person unnormal if she needs glasses, or is a person unnormal if she needs a special hip? Yeah, we don't know what is normal on this disability. Okay. I also found a sentence that I like. Maybe you can read first in the language you want. On this way, you see another path to ask what is normal. This is in German we say Normalitätserwartungen. Yeah, we have a view about this person is normal and this person isn't it. It's our special expectation. Okay, this expectation, yes, is our view of what is normal. Yes, and I think this is the first thing. Yeah? When we see, okay, we are possibility. We have the activities, we have the chances, we have the money to include persons. Yeah, also kind of las expectativas sociales de normalidad. I don't know. Okay, so this picture is a remembering for my thing about what is normal. As I was a young man, I was in Portugal at the coast. We took the 3 days at the coast, and we see a scene like this. There was a group of fishermen and fisher wives, and they fished together. The man took the boat, bring the net out in the sea, and the woman took the rope and bring the net back to the coast. And in this scene, there was a young man with a special need, but he works together with the woman. He was totally included. There was nothing of what is normal and what is outside. He can work together. This was a society where all people, woman and man, special need or not, can work together. But this kind of society we don't have anymore. We have a very different society. And this is my thinking of the problem, why inclusion is a problem, maybe also in Colombia. I bring here, this is a potato view. There's a lot of potatoes. People are different in. This is, sorry, this is German, but I only want to show you that people live in different potatoes of society. Maybe it's nearly the same in Colombia, that you have people live in precarious situation and people have lots of money and live in high situation. And I learned in this week, there are also a very different society here. Yes, people bring their children in schools, they earn a lot of money or have less money. In Germany, we don't have this special situation, but we have also a very different society in Germany. This is also a view of, this is not an inclusive society. All is very different and all shows there's lots of problems between these different potatoes. Maybe you can read. Yeah, maybe you wanted to tell us if you are agree with this sentence. On your kind as here in Colombia. If you say, yes, we are also a meritocratic society. And if we are a meritocratic society, We have also a potato society where people are in different potatoes, and it's very complicated to do inclusion in this meritocratic society. Maybe you agree or not. Maybe you can give an answer if you want.
Yes, but I think it's important for me to understand what do you understand about differences, because one of the differences is to be or to have a disability, but there are many people that don't have disabilities but also need to be included.
Yes.
Then I want to understand that. How do you see that, both of you?
Yeah.
Yes, because I understand when you have a disability, you need special needs. But for example, a young people or a child that is from Turkey, it's someone that needs special adaptations or special support. Yes. Then how do you see that?
Yeah.
Because you are talking about education for all.
Yes.
But I want to understand
Yes.
that difference, or how do you see that?
Yeah. As Anja told, we have a system for the first thinking that we want education for all. It's a very old sentence. It's 500 years old in Europe. Yes, Comenius told us for 500 years to say education for all. But this thinking of education for all is a problem of the German system, as you see. Yes, that we see, okay, said 100 years ago, they thought, okay, we make a system for all for 4 years only. And if the children came from Turkey or from Spain or from Colombia to Germany, they go first. Maybe they are young enough to go in a primary school, but they also have special abilities, special needs, and we can say they don't get very good support in Germany. That's the problem. That's a big problem.
Then
Yes, yes. This is very similar to that was Anja said. Maybe I can skip this. This is a law in Germany. The first is a law, and the second is a sentence from minister. And this is our views, maybe you can see. Yeah? This is the thinking we want to go for, we want to have, but as you see, the system works to get in opposite to our views we have. This is also maybe a view to say what is inclusion and what is exclusion. And maybe you know these pictures. And if the question is, what do we want to have in our society? So, but not to be very progressive, this is not so easy. We will see, this is not so easy. Maybe it's also a problem to bring this in future. The first is here. I talked about Salamanca, as you see maybe, and Salamanca brings up lots of themes, and I bring it here on this way to see what is the views, what is the thinking in Salamanca in 94 last century. Maybe you can see the first is participation. This is the central theme, to bring participation. And the thing is also that we go in action to bring us as teachers, as a system in action to see how we can bring it together. We have to work for it. It don't bring it's on its own. It works. We need people who get their possibility to bring up their mindset, to bring it in action. But as we also see, it's a normative determination. It's not a thing of academics. It's normative set. And so we have a problem because if we talk about exclusion, Salamanca said we don't want to have. Yes. So this is a general suspicion that all systems who have a thinking of exclusion, they look to bring it in distance. And it's also a very individual reference. Yeah, to look on the person and say, we look as you as an individual with your special needs, with your abilities, with your competences. So I talked about meritocracy because in my thinking, we also have to talk about these meritocracies to understand why is inclusion do not work as Salamanca it wants. This is Niklas Luhmann, is a person maybe you know, and he talked about binary code. Yes, this is a situation of a binary code. All computers work with binary codes. Yes, 0 and 1. Also skipping for the light, yeah, is binary. The light is on, the light is out. And he thought our society works as a binary code. The binary code is inclusion, exclusion. The binary code of the social system. So, as we see in the Fisher picture, there was an inclusive situation. Man and woman, old and young, special need or not, working together to get fish out of the sea. But in a meritocratic system, we see Luhmann said, no, it works in a binary code. And what are the binary codes we see? Maybe we can skip this to see here how the systems works. Yes, we have first maybe the easiest thinking about, you want to have a question? Not? No, okay. Maybe look about the healthcare system. If you are healthy, you are include the healthy society. And if you are sick, you are excluded. And this is okay. Yeah, if you are sick, you go outside of the society. Or the legal system. If you work and act legal, it's no problem, but you have a problem in our society if you work illegal. And it's okay to be excluded if you don't work legal. We accept this. We accept also in the economic system that people can pay or people can trade their things, that they are included, and people they can't work in the economic, we are accept that they are outside of this. The same as the science system. If your sentence, your talk in the science system are true, they are included, it's okay. And if you are lie, or if they are false, they will exclude it. We accept also this. And the last, and that's the problem we have maybe, to start think about the educational system. We are passed, then you go further on. And if you pass, you can go to university and so on and so on. You may accept this. And if you are failed, you are excluded. This is thinking of Luhmann. The question is of if we accept this thinking of the binary code. Maybe you can tell us what do you think now. If you accept this or say, oh, or I don't know, or you can speak in Spain, that your students can.
Sí, sí me parece muy sorprendente porque siento que en muchas ocasiones vemos la educación de esta forma, ¿no? Y pues muchos aspectos de la vida, como tú lo presentas ahí, y es que o está bien o está mal. Digamos que a mí me recuerda mucho un tema que estoy viendo ahorita en uno de los cursos, que es el conductismo, digamos con el tema de los refuerzos y los castigos. Digamos que pues a veces estamos muy acostumbrados a decir, no, si tú haces lo que yo estoy esperando a que hagas, pues lo estás haciendo bien, pero a veces como que nos hemos limitado a pensar de que hay muchas más formas de hacerlo igualmente válidas. Entonces creo que sí es como un aspecto importante a tener en cuenta pues en la educación.
Im Leben sieht man so viel
Stadien.
Ja, genau. Und er hat gesagt, dass er denkt jetzt dran, dass er eine Vorlesung hat, dort redet man über Konduktismus. Und er sagt, mach das, was ich möchte, und du bekommst eine Belohnung.
Ja.
Wenn du das nicht machst, bekommst du eine Strafe.
Ja.
Das ist
Ja, genau. Noch ein Diskussionsbeitrag? Willst du was dazu sagen?
Ach, so auf die Schnelle.
Ja, klar.
En español, en alemán no, por supuesto. Yo creo que sí que lo veo en el económico, en el sistema económico, veo esto que o puedes comprar o no. O sea, allí me parece que sí que siempre funciona así. Yo espero que no funcione como está en en este folio que en el healthcare system, o sea, en el sistema de salud, estás fuera, si estás enfermo o enferma. Sería bastante cruel. Yo creo que sí que hay algunas sociedades que lo ven así, pero yo espero que la sociedad alemana no lo vea así. Y bueno, también el sistema educacional de educación no siempre es así de blanco o negro. Pero claro, hay sistemas que sí y no es como nos lo deseamos, pero sí, espero que sí, que lo soluciones tú.
A mí lo que me llama la atención de estas dos contrapartes es que en el campo de la educación a veces es lo que para el profesor o para la institución sea verdadero y para lo que para la institución sea falso, lo normal.
Pero, ¿se lo entiende?
Sí.
I like the idea of Luhmann because it's going together with the idea of doing difference, because it's not on the same line, on the same level. Being healthy is better than being sick. Yeah, to pass the examination is better than to fail the examination. So it's a hierarchy, and it's not nice to have, but it's really important to reflect on, because focusing on inclusion means we are referring to an ideal society. It's like an aim or a goal or a vision. Yeah, but on the other hand, that's a good description how society is. Yeah.
Want to say something?
Yes. Sí, yo concuerdo. Creo que estos términos de inclusión y exclusión son fundamentales para entender todo el tema que está relacionado con no solo la inclusión, sino el cómo concebimos la diversidad. ¿Sí? Porque, o sea, a mí lo que todo el tiempo me ha preocupado y desde que hice mi tesis doctoral fue un foco rojo en términos de este tema de la inclusión y de la educación para todos, justamente fue el hecho de que centramos todo el tema de la exclusión en la escuela relacionado con pues un aspecto que tiene que ver más con la salud, ¿sí? Y pues es evidente que tanto en Alemania como en Colombia, y pues como en muchas partes del mundo, la cuestión de la diversidad va mucho más allá de la discapacidad. Cuando solamente hablamos en términos médicos o de salud, ¿sí? O sea, hacemos referencia a las discapacidades. Entonces, dejamos como por fuera a un gran rango de estudiantes que no necesariamente tienen una discapacidad, sino que tienen, por ejemplo, que no hablan el idioma, tienen, por ejemplo, que su cultura es diferente, tienen, por ejemplo, que tienen una orientación sexual que no es la normal, etcétera, ¿sí? Y yo creo que ese es un tema que tenemos que abordar de una manera muy importante. Acá en América Latina, particularmente, hay un autor que se llama Carlos Escliar, que él ha trabajado el tema de la diferencia principalmente, y es desde ahí desde donde está viendo todo lo que está relacionado con la inclusión, para poder abordar pues una gama más amplia de personas que están dentro de ese rango, o más bien, todos estamos dentro de ese rango, ¿sí?
Ein Satz, schön übersetzt. Was hat sie gesagt?
Dass dieses Thema das ist mit Inklusion verbunden, mit dieser Idee von Inklusion, Exklusion.
So ist es.
Und das sollte nicht nur im medizinischen Bereich verstehen, sondern auch verstehen, dass eine Person, dass die Menschen nicht nur solche Bedürfnisse haben, sondern auch geistige Bedürfnisse.
Ja, ja.
Und das hat nicht, deswegen reden wir nicht über Behinderungen, Disabilities, sondern über Differenzen. Und der spricht über Otherness, das ist mit Otherness. Otherness.
Ja, otherness.
Das ist die Idee von Scared,
Ja.
der Autor.
Ja. The next thing is we see, if the question is as we see exclusion. On this discussion of Salamanca, we see exclusion very not so good. We say, oh no, we have to do inclusion. In Lumen thinking, exclusion is a power. Yeah, is a thinking of power. I wrote this here for you, which powerful thinking or with, jetzt habe ich ein anderes Leistungsbegriff, performance, the system is bringing up, yeah, to see, okay, if you are sick, we have a hospital, yeah. If you are doing not so well, you go to prison. It's, yes, so on this way. But the question is, what do we do for this, the students in the same thinking? Yes. What is the performance on this way? I bring it here together. What is Lumen thinking and what is Salamanca thinking? But maybe I can skip it on the watch. And we see now what thinking we do have about inclusion. If we see at Lumen, we see exclusion is a good idea for our meritocratic system. So maybe we see we need exclusion in different ways of thinking. In a healthy system, we need exclusion. On a legal system, we need exclusion. In the science, we need exclusion. What do we need in education? Do we also need exclusion? If a student can't pass an examination, so we are sorry. It's like, okay, not everybody can go to university. This is Hartmut Esser, also a sociological man, and he thought about a third way, not Salamanca and not Lumen, a third way through both. Now we have a look, what is the third way of Hartmut Esser? Is between both. Yes, we see on this one hand here, and we see, okay, if we go to health system, Hartmut say, okay, we can do rehabilitation things, yes? If somebody is sick, okay, maybe he have to go to an hospital, but he mustn't stay forever in the hospital. We can do a third way of thinking about in a health system. Also in the legal system, we have a third way of libertad condicional, yeah? To say, okay, you have done something we don't want to have to do, but we won't put you in a prison. We give you a third possibility. And also in economic system, somebody is not have not enough money, but we can give you a welfare, yeah, to help you to be part of the system. Science, we do evaluation and see, okay, maybe we can talk together what of the thinkings we can put in our system. And the same in the education system, if we can do some special need education works. And the question is how we do it. We talked about special needs school systems outside of the normal systems, or we can do a think of inclusion as a third way of thinking. Maybe we can do a little around about comment. What do you think about this now? Sorry.
Mi pregunta es si el camino tercero es más bien integración que inclusión. Es lo que me parece. Y un comentario sobre lo que hemos visto, el diagrama de inclusión, exclusión. Ja, ganz kurz. Siempre es que das mit dem Punkt. Nosotros, o sea, yo por lo menos como maestro, sí que quiero que sea inclusivo el sistema de las escuelas, pero lo que vemos en la sociedad nunca es inclusivo. Eso es un problema grande que tenemos. O sea, intentamos tener una escuela inclusiva, pero no logramos tener un sistema social inclusivo. Y yo creo que eso, este camino de cero a lo mejor lo enseña. Genau, also dieser dritte Weg zeigt doch auch irgendwie, dass auch die Gesellschaft eher sowas wie integrativ sein kann.
Ah, okay, ja, dann habe ich es verstanden, ja.
Meine Frage ist dieser dritte Weg eher Integration als
This is a thinking of the term. What if we how we use the term? If we have also the problem in Germany, how we use the term integration, how we use the term inclusion. So yes, maybe you think about our thinking about inclusion is more integration. Yes, if we are in the thinking of Luhmann binary code, we will see inclusion will disturb the society system. In this way, I think this is not what I want. If somebody failed, he cannot go to university. If somebody is a robber, maybe he has to go in prison. The totally inclusion is also a destruction of the society. So in my using of terms, I will say, this is a thinking of the third way. We have maybe think about integration to use the system as it is, but also help people in a third thinking way. maybe you also want to say something?
Pues sí, ¿tú le traduces al alemán? Ok, lo que sucede es que yo no sé si ustedes han revisado lo que tiene que ver con una propuesta que es el diseño universal de aprendizaje.
Es gibt so wie einen Vorschlag, das heißt, der heißt Universal Design for Learning.
Yes. Entonces, pues bueno, desde mi perspectiva, pues el diseño universal de aprendizaje es una entrada para la inclusión, para generar esto, ¿sí? ¿Por qué? Porque desde esa perspectiva, la intención es incluir a todos los estudiantes con sus características particulares y a través de procesos que el docente o que el profesor, maestro, genera en los diseños de enseñanza-aprendizaje, lo que logra es que todos los estudiantes puedan aprender y puedan también ir accediendo a los siguientes niveles.
Ja.
Ja.
Aber ich hatte den Eindruck, dass Anja auch was sagen möchte.
Das Ziel vom Universal Design for Learning ist Inklusion, aber so wie das vierte Bild, so keine Integration, sondern alle in einem Klassenraum auf alle Schüler oder ja, gleichzeitig aufpassen.
Ja.
Es gibt so wie einen großen Vorschlag, eine Programmproposal,
Ja.
aber das ist nicht das Ziel und damit kann man beweisen oder feststellen, dass es möglich ist. Y con ello se puede comprobar que es posible. Y a través de, das ist durch Universal Design for Learning, das ist eine so wie Inklusionsmethodik.
Okay.
Thank you very much. It was a good comment to think about what does this means, referring on methods and didactics in classroom. I think it's really good to have this differentiation between exclusion, segregation, integration, and inclusion. And then to see, on the one hand side, we have our educational system and this idea of inclusive education. And on the other hand, we have the society. And the big question is, what does this mean on level of society? And I myself, I like the idea inclusion as aim, as goal, as vision, and to be inclusion oriented. Yeah, because in many ways, if we have the label that's an inclusive school, then we have a closer look and we see, no, it's not inclusive in that way, like here on the fourth side, but it's inclusion oriented. And it's good to have a shared, a joint discussion. What is our aim or our development as school, but also as society? And then we see many challenges, but also we can do some steps, yeah? And some steps are more inclusion oriented and some steps are less, yeah.
In the problem is, if I go back to Esser's third way, the problem is that the third way needs also more power. Yes, we need power for the social science systems. Yes, for binary code, we need power, but we need more power for the third way. And this is maybe the question, the total question. Is there enough power? Is there enough ideas? Is there enough normative thinking on, as Anja said, we want to really transform our education in this third way. Is there the abilities there for this thinking? This is my question. And as we see in German, the last 30 years is an aim, but in my thinking, it is an aim in the stars. Yes.
We also do individuals with Disabilities Education Act. We also do this Disabilities Education Act here in Colombia, but I think that the DUA, the Universal Design of Learning goes further, yes, further. Then I agree that it's important to have and this third possibility, but I think that when we are thinking in Disabilities Education Act, we exclude other kind of students that don't have disabilities. Do you understand me? For example,
he's not agree.
Huh?
Christoph isn't agree with.
I don't know what is a Disability Act. I think it is perhaps it is the wrong name for a thing we think different. Das ist sozusagen, desde mi punto de vista es como que la escuela sea para todos, ¿o no? O sea, y eso incluye otras cosas que solo disabilidades, sino que también lo que dijimos antes, o sea, orientación sexual, el estatus social y migración y todo esto. O sea, por eso a mí me sorprendía el nombre de Disability Act. Yo creo que eso es el problema aquí.
The first hour is past. So the thinking is if the students are sitting in their home, maybe they are interesting as have questions. If they don't have, we can go a little bit further. Yes. So the next is this. Do we have still time? We see here that different actors have different ways of thinking and different wishes. And I show you in Germany, we have Aktion Mensch. It's a society who are very interesting in inclusion. It's a very popular way they have. Maybe you can read in the language you want to read. We see on this society, Aktion Mensch, wishes inclusion. So what do the others wish? Children. This is the numbers for inclusion in Germany from 2008 to 2020. On this way, we see that in the last 15 years, the quote of children going in a special need system, as Anja showed, is on this level. In Germany, we start with 4.9 and it ended with 4.4. In the same time, we have a third way, maybe I thought, yes, a third way with people who are in the normal school system. What is normal? In the normal school system, and this grows up. So this is what we see about special education, how it works as it started, and now it is on this way in Germany. And the question is, which group is this? Which group is this? Yes, 15 years ago, this was a very small group, and this group grows up. Yes, do we bring up more problems on this way? I have 2 marks here. Anja?
Thank you very, very much. And that's the interesting thing, because we did not change our educational system. We signed the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and we modified our school laws in every federal state. But we see still this big group going to special needs school is the same. But the other part, the green part, is increasing, and the ridiculous thing is that we have now more children with special needs than we had before signing the UN Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities. This means we are now more aware about special needs and disabilities than before, and that's a little bit ridiculous, because we are speaking about inclusion. Yeah.
Okay. If you want to make a comment, or you can tell us about something Colombia, if you say, okay, this is very different from Colombia, or a little bit similar, we don't know. So you can, it's a little bit similar, yes. And the question from Anya is very important, yes. Why is this green one, the third way, maybe we can see why is the third way here? We thought this was a good thinking to view our main thinking for inclusion, but on this way we see it's very complicated, yes. The binary code of the school system works. This is the binary code of the school system. This works, yes. This is the third way, but is this the right way? We don't know. Because if these children here in this green part, sitting inclusive in a normal school, a person sits beside them. Is this the thinking the pupil want to have, to sit in a normal school, but a teacher sits beside him whole the day? Is this what we want? Yes? Okay. And on this, you see how the differences, special needs are going on in Germany. We have here Salamanca, 9.6, we have here Salamanca, and you see the different parts of special needs. Sorry, it's not in German, it's only in German, not in the other languages. But you see on this way, we saw on the last slide that one group grows up, and here you can see which pupils are in this growing up, in this green path, yes? And it is, kann das jemand übersetzen? Christoph wird
Intento. A lo mejor no muy buena, es como una deficiencia cognitiva, más o menos. Language, o sea, el lenguaje. Emoción, o sea, un desarrollo emocional y social, casi se puede leer.
As you see here, these three pupils go in the third way. The others not. The others are stable. Yeah. If you are problems with your eyes, it's stable for the whole 30 years. If you have problems with the ears, it's also stable. Yes. So we see maybe these pupils are going the third way in our school systems, not before. And this is very interesting. Why do we don't notice these people before the contract? Maybe these people were more inclusive in the 90s than today. Yeah, okay.
Me parece muy curioso y es que digamos que más o menos a inicios de los 2000, digamos, yo creo que se puede asociar un poco también con la llegada de la tecnología a nivel mundial, digamos, la cuarta revolución industrial, que como que facilitó mucho la información para las personas y de alguna manera también la escolarización. Yo creo que de alguna manera se puede explicar por qué, por ejemplo, la tendencia de la parte emocional, digamos, puede verse un poco más creciente que los demás, digamos, porque es algo mucho más trabajable solo por el hecho de recibir como la información. Los otros ya requieren como una relación más transversal como entre pues, las otras áreas, salud, por ejemplo. Entonces, esto me lleva como tal a considerar otra cosa, y es como ¿cuál es la importancia de la tecnología dentro de la inclusión y cómo la tenemos que controlar en las aulas de clase?
Ja, das hat tatsächlich auch was mit der Evolution, mit den neuen Medien zu tun. Das ist, der sagt, das ist ein 2000 Grund. Erstens den Grund und zweitens aber, was wäre dann der Beitrag? So habe ich es verstanden, Diana. Der Beitrag der digitalen Medien auch genau für dieses Problem.
Mm.
Also
Yes.
Grund, Beitrag.
Yeah. This is a big question because we can't answer. Yeah, we can't answer because yes, we have a growing up in the digitality, yes, but we can't. I can't say you something about your question. My thinking is without this digital, yes, this is richtig ausgesprochen, increasing, yes, we won't have the same here. In my thinking, yes, we do have this situation about the third way for inclusion in school systems. In my thinking, the inclusion of Salamanca bring us up in this situation because of the stabilization of the binary code of school system. The school system in the main thinking is the same as 100 years ago. We didn't change the system. This is the question of Anja, yeah? How do we have changed the whole system to change also this one? If we have the school system stable as the last 100 years, we want to change the inclusion way of thinking education. Okay? This is what teacher want to have. If you ask teacher, what do you want to have in this way of numbers we now see? I don't know, it's the same situation here it's the same. And is this the same if the teacher are preferring our classic system? How can we change it? The teacher are the change agents. If they don't want to have the change, how can we change it? Ah, da habe ich gar keine spanische Übersetzung. This is what the parents want to have. Yes, I told you, I show you different actors here. What do the parents want to have? And the parents say, yes, no, third way. It depends on the situation the child have. It depends on the situation the child have, yes. We can also interpret and say, okay, it's an individual thinking of the parents. And here you say it's different what the parents prefer or defend.
Diferentes, las necesidades especiales pueden ser diferentes. 94. Befürworten.
They want to have.
Okay.
What do parents want to have for inclusion situation in school? Yes, to say, okay, if the child sits in a wheelchair,
Okay.
we have no problem. If child sits in a wheelchair, they can be inclusive. Okay, I take it. Okay, if child sits in a wheelchair, they can be inclusive in a normal system, and we see it in Germany. Yeah, the child's in a wheelchair. If the school have the situation, the infrastructure, then they can. If childs have problems with the language, it's okay. They can be included. And think of the parents. Okay, if the child have problems with learning, okay. If childs have problems with the eyes, if child's coming from a war, as in Germany, maybe you know, in Germany we have childs from Ukraine, come from a war situation. If childs have a, was sagt man geistig, Down syndrome.
No, Down syndrome, no.
A special thinking problem, we can say, special thinking problem. Yes, and if childs have emotional and social problems, okay? Parents are going in distance. Maybe this is also a way of thinking why does inclusion or integration works or not work in children. And maybe you can think about these different ways of lines. Yes, maybe it's very similar of the wishes of the parents. Anja.
Maybe the interesting thing for you is that we don't have one labeling children with disabilities. We have a distinction between different. And one interesting thing is to have the disability learning problems. And in some federal states, we stick on this label, in others not. And I know many countries without this group of children with disabilities referring to learning problems. We can say, okay, learning is different. Yeah. And I would like to ask, how many different labelings do you have within this group?
I have a problem with the labels.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, Marco.
yes, I have a problem with these labels because it's not the same a child in war situation than a child that have Down syndrome. It's not the same. Then I think that, I don't know, but we have to understand that we have children with disabilities, but children in another situation. Yes, and it's different the way that I will approach to that children. I think we can mix.
Sí, sí, yo creo que tengo una percepción bastante similar y es que, digamos que, dado que son situaciones muy particulares, digamos, hay que tener en cuenta criterios muy específicos y diferentes a la vez para poder, ¿cómo decirlo?, evaluarlos de una manera correcta. Yo siento que de pronto muchos padres, no únicamente en Alemania, sino también pues en general pues en el mundo, tienen una percepción demasiado estándar acerca de la educación. Entonces, como que no tienen en cuenta de que se pueden incluir ciertos métodos dentro del sistema educativo que pueda llevar a buen término, ¿no? Pues el tratamiento precisamente de este tipo de estudiantes que tienen estas necesidades. Entonces, digamos que por eso siento que se puede ver un poco sesgado la parte de, pues, de la percepción que tienen los padres acerca, pues, de la posible inclusión de estos grupos de estudiantes, pues, en el sistema educativo. Otra cosa que yo quería decir es que me parece muy curioso una cosa y es anteriormente estamos viendo como en el tema de la gráfica que el tema de la inclusión iba de forma más exponencial para el tema relacionado con las emociones, ¿no? Digamos, actualmente estos datos también nos muestran que es como el menos optimista para los padres. Entonces es muy curioso porque de alguna manera nos pone a pensar como hasta qué punto los padres, la opinión de ellos acerca de la educación puede llegar a afectar que realmente es la inclusión. ¿Será que es un tema como de desinformación o como qué factores influyen ahí?
Ich glaube, ich habe es halb verstanden.
Er ist damit einverstanden, was Irma gesagt hat, dass es ein bisschen kompliziert solche Gruppen zu stellen.
Ja.
Oder vielleicht ein bisschen, wenn wir er denkt, es ist notwendig, an bestimmte Kriterien zu denken, oder weil es gibt einige, die sehr spezifisch sind.
Mm.
Und naja, das ist dasselbe, so wie Irma gesagt hat. Und andererseits hat er gesagt, dass er findet auffällig, dass Diagramm, das ist früher gesagt wurde, zeigt so, wie wichtig wie exponentiell.
Ja, diese emotionale Zone hochgeht. Ja, ja.
Aber für die Eltern sind diese schwierig, sie zeigen sich nicht so optimistisch.
Ja, genau.
Diesen,
Genau. Ja. Ja, ja. Ja, ja. Yeah. Also if a child with an emotional problem sits in a normal class, parents said, we want to have. We want to have.
was er auch sagte, ist, dass es für ihn auch auffällig ist, wie der Eindruck der Eltern so unterschiedlich ist.
Yeah, yeah. But these groups are also a historical way. Yes, if the special needs system grows up in Germany, different groups brings different school systems for special needs children. So this is also a historical thinking about special needs in Germany, to see, okay, children have problems with their eyes, go in a special school for blind children. And so these groups are also increasing in a historical path. So, was habe ich hier noch? This is the way what the whole society is thinking about inclusion. Yes. In Germany, we have a very different special needs systems. As I told, yes, for the blind, and all these things. And the society, the whole society, if we ask them, they say, we want to have this special needs system for all children. Yes, you see now, the teacher want to have the special needs system, the parents want to have the special needs system, and the whole society in Germany want to have a special needs system. How we can work against this thinkings of these big groups now in our society. Christoph want to say something.
Ich habe noch eine Information hinter dem Kasten. Was steht die 42?
Habe ich jetzt nicht dabei.
Okay, dann.
Könnte ich raus, ich könnte das wegnehmen. In my thing it was only this, yes, to see how stable or stabilized is the system if different actors want to have the same. Yeah? Different actors want to have in Germany a special need system. Yes, and how can the politics works against these wishes? How can we as educators work against these wishes? Yes. Yeah, for the first, I think it's enough for today. 5 minutes left. Maybe the students want to discuss or say something else for reflection now, because now we go a little further. It wouldn't be work now for the time we have less.
Yo tengo una pregunta antes de hacer el cierre de la presentación y tiene que ver con el cuadro que presentó Ania sobre el sistema educativo en Alemania, ¿sí? Y cómo es selectivo, ¿sí? En la parte de abajo se veía primaria y se veía más o menos fácil intentar inclusión. ¿Cómo han pensado intentar la parte de inclusión en la siguiente fase, en secundaria, donde está dividido en tantos grupos y es tan selectivo? ¿Cómo han pensado poder llegar a la inclusión en ese lugar?
Nichts verstanden, aber wir können ja gerne auf Spanisch weitermachen. Ja, weil dann kriegen die Studenten noch mehr mit.
Gehen wir nochmal zurück auf die Folie.
Auf diese?
Nee, auf meine.
Okay.
Muchas gracias. Una pregunta muy importante del schulsystem, la estructura en Alemania. Here we have the idea to work in a heterogeneous classroom and to have the idea to differentiate, to give different tasks. And here in Gymnasium, we stick more or less to the idea that our learning group is more or less homogeneous. And here we have a classroom teacher, and I teach as a primary teacher nearly all subjects. So then I can decide, okay, now we read and now we do general studies and we integrate arts, and we are more flexible. And here we have another idea to be a teacher. And we have the definition to teach a subject. And here we have more the idea to teach children. So that's one part. And the other is that here in grade 2 and 3, or 1, 2, and 3, I have more freedom. Yeah, because I can say, okay, I will write a report and I will write a letter to you and the parents. But latest here in grade 4, it's so important to get good marks. Yeah, to have a good evaluation, because in the end, if you are not good enough, you can't go to gymnasium. And so this means here it's highly selective. And of course you can go ahead and it's flexible, but in the end, more children from gymnasium go down than others go up. Yeah, and that's a big issue, and inclusion is part of our primary teacher programs. So we have a lot of modules in our teacher training referring to dealing with heterogeneity, doing difference, inclusion, diagnostic, language support in maths. Christoph does this, and we do a lot of courses. But once you're studying to be a teacher for gymnasium, you are studying your subjects and you have less pedagogy, less education, and less focusing on the idea on inclusion. So that's has to do with attitudes and beliefs, and it's really hard to change teaching beliefs or teacher beliefs. And once you come with your beliefs, if you don't have irritation through practical studies, through your study programs, you don't work on your beliefs. Yeah, and if you had experienced this homogeneous idea, it's hard to say, okay, I believe that it works to have a heterogeneous classroom. And if I say I'm working in a school and there are really heterogeneous classes, it's not neutral. It has a connotation. Oh, you have problems. There are many children with problems, yeah, and families with problems, yeah. So it's a hierarchy.
Muchas gracias, Ania y Tomás, por la presentación. Fue muy interesante discutir sobre el tema de inclusión y entender cómo ha sido de similar pues, el proceso tanto en Colombia como en Alemania. Hemos visto similaridad, hemos visto muchas semejanzas y hemos visto muchos retos que también tenemos aquí en Colombia y en Latinoamérica respecto a cómo entendemos la inclusión y cómo podemos lograr que más estudiantes tengan la oportunidad de recibir una educación de calidad sin importar sus características, sean médicas, sean emocionales o sociales o culturales. Entonces, les agradecemos y el intercambio estuvo muy interesante. Bienvenidos cuando quieran estar. A todos los que estuvieron conectados, muchísimas gracias a las personas que estuvieron en YouTube, mil gracias en Zoom. De verdad, les deseamos una feliz tarde y seguimos invitándolos a estos espacios de Pensando Educación aquí en la Facultad de Educación de la Universidad de los Andes.
Hasta la próxima.